So let's find out how we did today. There were like 400 people there, and Dave said it went really well. So you guys want to know how we did today? If you want to know how we did today, let me know. Let me know. If you want to know how we did today, put it in the chat box. I'm going to take a swig of water, and I want to know if you want to know how our Shark Tank audition went today. All right? Let me know. All right. So come on in. And we're going to get started with this little recap from the Shark Tank audition. But before we do that, how's that for a cliffhanger? How's that for a cliffhanger? Before I tell you how we did today, let's talk a little bit about the keys to selling your idea or securing investors. If you want to know how to sell your idea, sometimes license your idea. I'll do another live on licensing your idea, or secure an investor, sponsors, those kinds of things for your business. Type oh yeah in the comments if you're interested in getting better or even just learning how to sell your idea or secure your investors. And of course, or be on Shark Tank for that matter. Since we're talking about Shark Tank, if you'd like to know how to be on Shark Tank, put oh yeah or yes in the comments. I'll take another swig of water because I'm parched. I told y'all yesterday also that I started my training today for my 5K. My 5K is, I think, in September, maybe October. It's a long way. It's a long way away, but I need every single bit of that time. So if you're interested in learning how to be on Shark Tank or just sell your ideas or secure some investors, type oh yeah, and we'll keep it rolling. All right, so the key to selling your idea, whether it's to Shark Tank or to other people or securing investors or just getting sponsors or whatever, they tend to fall in the same arena, right? It doesn't matter if you're auditioning for a business show like Shark Tank or you are trying to get investors for your community play. There are certain things that must be in place. There are certain things that people are looking for before they give you money, before they part with their dough. So let's talk about the 4 things that you need to sell your idea or to get investors or to get people to sponsor you or those kinds of things. So they're going to focus on the founder, that's you, the entrepreneur, the idea, so that's whatever the program, product, service is, whatever you're selling, the business model, basically how does this thing work? How do we make money? Not a lot of people want to give you money unless they can see a way, not necessarily to get their money back, although investors are interested in getting their money back, but some people will invest in you because they want your thing to be successful, but they don't want to just throw their money down the toilet. So they're very interested in the business model. And then the numbers are everything from how you get customers to how you generate sales to how you generate revenue to how many people stick around in your program to the numbers that they are going to be getting from investing money. So if I give you $1,000, am I going to get $1,010 back? Am I going to get $20,000 back? So those are the 4 things that you need to be focusing on, regardless of what you're pitching, regardless of whether you're trying to get on Shark Tank or try to get an investor or try to get sponsors or raising capital, whatever it is. The founder, who is the person behind the business, the idea, how strong is the idea? We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then the business model of the business and the numbers behind the business. Those are the 4 core areas. All right. So let's talk about the founder. When you're talking about your founder, when you're talking about the entrepreneur, you're talking about 3 things I usually focus on when I'm preparing people for Shark Tank. They are interested in your story, your situation, and the stakes. So what do I mean by those 3 things? All right. So the story is kind of, how did you get in this business? How did you come to this business? How did you create this idea? How did you come to create this product? How did you come to this station, this place in your life, right? They're very interested in the founder's story. It tells them a little bit about who you are and whether they should invest in you. So that's a story. And I'm going to go through these really quickly, obviously, because I don't do really long lives. But then they are also interested in the situation. What situation brought you to this point in your life? So there's a story of who you are. I grew up in Dallas, 4th of 5 children, et cetera, played basketball. Those would be the story points for my story. But the situation that brought us to the pitch, the situation that brought us to start this business If I were to tell in my story, I would say situation was I was working for Procter and Gamble and it hit me one day. I didn't want to sell Crest toothpaste and Scope mouthwash for the rest of my life. It was a great job, 6-figure compensation package. I'm in my mid-20s. Life was grand, but it did hit me that this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. But when I went to look for books about how to transition from corporate life to entrepreneurship for Black women, there was nothing out there for me. So I wrote the book myself. So that was just me off the cuff. But that's a real story. That's exactly why I left Procter & Gamble in my mid-20s, late 20s, and started my own company that's still in existence today, right? So those are my story points. That's a situation that brings me to this business I'm pitching to you right now. The last S is so important. Stakes. What are the stakes? What's going to happen if this business doesn't work? What's going to happen if you don't get the investment? Those are the stakes. So I want you to think about stakes in this way. Like, think about a movie. You go to see your Hollywood blockbuster movie. Every movie, if it's worth its weight in gold, has stakes. Every movie has something that would happen, terrible that would happen if the hero of the movie doesn't win, right? So if you're thinking about in Black Panther, you're thinking about in Superman or Spider-Man, if the hero doesn't win, then it's going to be a crazy world, right? If Spider-Man doesn't take down the green guy, if the guy doesn't take down cute Michael B. Jordan doesn't take them down, it's going to be crazy Wakanda. So every story has stakes. So if there are no stakes, guess what? Investors are going to think you can drop this business. If there's nothing for you to lose, then when it gets really hot in the kitchen, you're just going to drop this business and I'm going to lose my money. That is the best way to describe telling the story of your stakes. So every founder should have a story, situation that brought them to where they are, and then the stakes. What happens if it goes bad? What is going to happen? Because an investor is going to measure your skin in the game by how high the stakes are if it doesn't go well. Make sense? All right, I'll take another swig of water. Actually, I'm drinking the green drink. That is kind of interesting. But anyway, so that's a founder. That's the F. The I is the idea. You got to ask yourself, is my idea a big idea? Okay, let's think about some big ideas. Big ideas are the cell phone. That's a pretty freaking big idea, right? Is it a big idea? Is it of that magnitude? A niche idea might be, let's see, what would you think would be a niche idea? A niche idea might be, well, it started out being a really niche idea, was like maternity workout clothes. That's a niche idea, but it's not a small idea. It's niche, but it's not small, all right? And then a little idea might be, let's see, a little idea might be a combination, I'm making this up on the fly, a combination of like a bean bag and a yoga ball. I totally made that up on the fly, right? There might be something to that, but it feels little, even as I kind of talk about it right here, right? So there are big ideas, there are niche ideas, and there are little ideas. And investors invest in all three of those. You have to know, and it's going to be driven by the numbers, you have to know whether your idea is a big idea, a niche idea, or a little idea. And there's nothing wrong or necessarily better with either of those. It depends on the investor that you are attracting, or that you're attracting. So if an investor only invests in big ideas, right, and you bring them a niche or a little idea, that's very possible. Some investors will tell you, if it doesn't have the ability to make $50 million or $50 billion, I'm not interested in it. They only want to look at big ideas. Some investors only want to look at fintech, which is financial, and then that's combined with technology. Some people say, I only deal with women's. I only deal with minorities. I only deal with clean energy. All kinds of things. So you got to figure out if your idea is a big idea, a niche idea, or a little idea, right? The business model, simply put, how does it work? To use the overused example of business model, we bring up McDonald's. Everybody talks about McDonald's because it's one of those visual examples that you can pretty much look at and go, okay, I get it. So McDonald's has equipment. This is how we build a burger. We put the burger on the conveyor belt. It goes down and under the light. When somebody orders it, we hand them the burger. They pay for it. That's how McDonald's works. So you need to have a very clear and easy to explain business model. Because basically what an investor wants to know is, okay, how does it work? But what it really means is, how is my money made? How is your money made? How do you make money in this business? And then the other thing that's really kind of under the radar that most people don't talk about is whether your business is growing or is it dying. There's no such thing, even if there is a such thing as your business being flat. You don't want to talk about that. Nobody wants to hear that your business is flat, meaning it's not growing or dying, because I don't believe that, right? And I would highly, if I'm coaching you on getting on Shark Tank, you would never say, oh, the business is flat. We don't want to hear that. It's either growing or it's dying. and if you think about that, if you get into the mindset of understanding that your business is either growing or it's dying, and you're in a dying industry, then you need to figure out whether you need to get out of that industry or if there's some way you can resurrect your business based on a new customer base or based on a new product line or something like that. Got it? So it's either growing or dying, and you need to know that before you start pitching it to an investor. Growing is obviously always going to be great. Nobody wants to hear that your business is flat, because they're going to wonder what's happening to the industry. I mean, what do you mean it's flat? Are people leaving the industry? Nobody's working out again, friend? Why are you opening a gym? Why are you opening a gym if nobody's working out anymore, right? Be prepared to talk about how the industry that you're in is changing. Not that it's flat, it's changing, all right? So that's the model, business model. And then the final is in numbers. And you have to know thy numbers. So the numbers are your ask. We're asking for $100,000 for 10% of our business, right? We're asking for $100,000 for 10%. That's the ask. So whenever you are looking for investors, there's always an ask. So you got your ask has to make sense, right? If I ask for $100,000 for 10%, that tells them that I think my business is worth $1 million, right? So the ask is this, and then they're going to ask you, why do you think your business is worth $1 million? You got to be ready to answer that question. And even if you're not looking for investors, there's always an ask. Even if you're just looking for sponsors, you're asking them to give you, $100,000 for what? They need to know what they're getting for that. And don't just say, oh, we get to put your logo on this and we get to put your name on this. Nobody cares about that. That's a given. But what am I going to get for my $100,000? Or my $1,000 or my $1,000? What am I going to get? Well, here's what you're going to get. Here is the return on the investment. You're going to get in front of 20,000, males aged 24 to 34. That's going to translate into approximately 30% and 30% increase in the sales, the revenues of your razors, right? We're looking for return on that investment. So even if you're just looking for sponsors, we need to know what we are going to get back if we give you something. And then obviously revenues and sales are a given, even though most people can't usually translate an investment they don't know how to verbally translate an investment into sales. And you have to be ready to do that. That's one of the things I told David today about being on in the audition was, if they ask you, because we're pre-revenue, right? The app hasn't launched yet. They ask us, what makes you think? How are you going to get to that million? You gave us $1 million valuation. How are you going to get to that million? You need to be ready to talk about, okay, so we're going to launch it. We're going to do ads. We're going to get 3,000 users by the end of July. And those 3,000 users are going to you have to be able to walk through your numbers to share how you're going to get to those sales, how you got to that valuation, and how you're going to get to those revenues. I know I went really fast with that, but basically know thy numbers, okay? And that's how you do it. That's really how you prepare yourself and get ready to pitch your business, whether it's on Shark Tank or whether it's to an investor, private investor, or even the bank or community folks, even your family members. That was a really accelerated version of how to tell the story of your business and how to potentially get people to invest in you. All right. So if you would like to know more about how to get on Shark Tank, you need to check out Shark Tank Audition Playbook. It's a course I created that will give you insider secrets on how to pitch and audition for the hit show Shark Tank. You can go to the URL that you see on the screen, which is frantv.us/tank. You can do that, and you will get all the details about how to get on Shark Tank. I've coached about, I think last count's about 13 people, and 3 of those people have gotten on Shark Tank. And the others have either made it all the way there or gotten deals outside of the TV show. But it is a great process, and I highly, highly recommend it. But if you're interested in learning how to get on Shark Tank, just go to frantv.us/tank. And now what you're going to see is me go back to the beginning to tell you how it went. All right. So today, how did it go today? Shark Tank auditions and Indy today. Guess how long David's pitch was? 3 minutes top. 3 minutes max. And he said everything went exactly as we practiced. They asked him, "Hey Dave, how you doing? All right, what you got?" And then he basically told him about the business. He's an African American guy, of course, and in the tech world, and that those were pluses for him. And then they talked about, after they said, "Okay, how's it work? You guys are pre-revenue? Okay, cool." And then they said, "Tell us a little bit about you." So basically they were asking him about his founder story. And then they said, "Okay, thanks. We'll let you know by the 26th. That was it, y'all. That was the audition today. There were 400 people there today. So we'll find out how we did probably within a week or two. So yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this quick training on how to pitch yourself, how to sell your ideas, how to secure investors. Again, if you're interested in learning more, you should go to frantv.us/tank. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.